Hey everyone, it's Miss Andrea from KidSmart, and today we're going to continue with our stop motion animations. Last week we drew different vehicles. Here I have a car, and I also drew a boat. So I'm going to decide to go with the boat, but today what I want to do is focus on the background. So let's take a look at an example of a background. So we call things in the back the background, and as things get closer, this is called the foreground. So that's one example of a landscape. And here is another example of a landscape. You see we have things in the foreground like rocks and lily pads. And then in the background, we have the same sort of things, but they just get a little smaller as they get farther away. And we also have the sun. So I think this would be a good backdrop for my boat. Yeah, this looks like a great place for my boat. Now we have some examples from students here at Esperanza from 4th grade. So let's take a look at our landscape. We have the sun, a nice tree. Oh, it says do not enter. We have a road that goes up and down, so it's sort of like a mountain. And we also have a cloud. And the students made a nice little car or SUV to go along with it. This student made several vehicles. Now, what kind of vehicles are these? Ooh, bus and 2 cars. And now we have the backdrop. In this case, this student made 2 backdrops. Wish I could show you the whole thing at once, but I have to move it around. Great bridge. And we also have a road. We have in the foreground some green grass, and then in the middle we have our road, and then in the backdrop we have a lovely cityscape, lots of tall buildings with windows, the sun. This is a very wonderful backdrop. So I wanted to use a little bit of a smaller sheet of paper so I could show you the whole thing at once. Usually we can either put our paper 2 ways, like this, which is called portrait, which is really good if you're drawing someone's face and shoulders, a close-up of them. But we're drawing a really big backdrop, and that's why we want to put our paper long ways or wide like this, which is called landscape. I have a boat, so I'm going to draw some water, and you'll be able to see a little better when I color. But maybe there's some trees, all sorts of trees. Some are in front of each other. Maybe there's a gap. Maybe I have some mountains in the backdrop. And maybe a few more trees. Something like that. Oh, can't forget the sun. And since this is water, I'm going to want to have blue in the foreground, because that's where my boat is going to move, through the foreground. So I'm just doing this very quickly, but you can take your time. Maybe you're going through the city, like that one example. Or maybe it's sort of more scenic, more in nature, like this. Maybe you're going to draw the beach. Just want to have it sort of match whatever your vehicle is. So if you drew a boat, you want something with water. But if you drew a car last time, there's no reason you can't change your mind and draw something else. Maybe you want a boat or an airplane instead of whatever you did last week. That's okay. We're going to film next week, so that's pretty much what we're going to focus on today. There we go. Alright, now I made this small little landscape because it is too hard to get all the paper under my camera, but now you can see that the boat is probably a little too big, isn't it? So what I could do is just is make another boat. I think a boat about like this would be good. So I'm just doing a quick sketch. Boat that would stand out really nice against the blue. Like this. Always want to take our time with scissors. Here we go. So we should have next week our vehicle and our backdrop. And what we'll do, one at a time, you'll come over to me. We'll start our boat on this end, on the left. Click, I would take a picture. And then you will move it. Remember, we don't want to move it all too far. We want to make small little movements. Imagine if there were 5 invisible lines across this. You kind of want to move it about the same distance each time. Click, I would take a picture. Move it slightly more. Click, take a picture. Move it again. This is number 4. Ah, it's sticking to my hands. Click, take a picture. And finally, click and take a picture. And when we turn that into a stop motion, it'll look like it's moving on its own. And that's all there is to it.